Okay, welcome to the AI Customer Service Podcast, where we explore the intersection of artificial intelligence with customer service and support with industry leaders and innovators. Today, I'm thrilled to have Henrik Jan van der Poel, CEO and co founder of Purdue, joining us. Purdue is a comprehensive software platform that helps organizations effectively manage their strategy, objectives, and key results, as well as their key performance indicators, which we know as KPIs. Our theme for today's episode is OKRs in the age of customer service. As organizations increasingly integrate AI into their operations, including customer service, we face new challenges in defining and measuring success. How do we set meaningful OKRs when AI is reshaping the landscape of customer service and support? And to get the answers on that, we have just the right person to talk to. That is Henrik. Henrik, welcome to the podcast, and thank you for taking the time out to share your valuable insights with us, with our audience. Why don't you start with a brief introduction about you and Purdue?
Sure. I'm Henrik, one of the founders and CEO of Purdue, which is an OKR and strategy execution software based out of Berlin. Although nowadays we are a distributed team, actually, since Corona, as for many companies, I guess. Previously worked as a management consultant. A decade ago, we started Purdue as a software to support companies that want to implement OKRs, and over time, this has grown into a strategy execution tool. And as you can imagine, many companies try to implement OKRs. A lot of them were successful, but a lot of them also failed. So customer support, customer service, customer success for a company like ours is actually a big thing. So happy to talk about these things today.
Thank you so much, Henrik, for taking the time out. So, Henrik, the beginning with this session, what are the biggest challenges your team at Purdue has faced in customer support, and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, as I mentioned just now already, like one big challenge for us was that that we had to invest, and we still invest a good amount of time to make our customers successful. You can imagine that implementing OKRs in a 5 or 10 people team is relatively it's definitely doable and straightforward, but getting like larger organizations to implement OKRs can be quite of a challenge, and often involves things like a cultural shift. So for what customer support or customer service means for us is, for ease of use has always been very important for us. So we never really got a lot of questions about, okay, like, hey, how do I do X in your product? How does this work? But the questions were very much around, like, okay, how do I implement OKRs? Or I have this team that is struggling with setting good OKRs for their team. Those were the questions that we were getting, right? So that's a lot more expensive to answer than simple product questions. So that was a big challenge for us, and another major challenge for us was that that pretty much since day one, our customers were all over the world. Today, we have customers in more than 75 different countries. In fact, one of our first customers was based out of New Zealand, and then our second customer was based in Berlin. So spending these different time zones was always also a big challenge for us.
And how did you manage that time difference? Someone you were based out of Berlin, and your first few customers were from New Zealand. What channels did you use? Was it email? Was it phone support? Was it chat? How did you do at the starting of phase of the Purdue?
Yeah, it was. We never offered phone support. That's I don't think that fits a company like ours, and is just too complicated. We offer support via email, and we were one of the first customers of Intercom. I think
Awesome.
early 2015. It was a relatively new company. I'm not saying we were one of the first companies. We were definitely an early customer of theirs, and their key feature at the time was that in-app chat, right? So we implemented that. They had a mobile app. So when the team was, early 2015, it was just me and my co-founder, Jonathan, and me. So what do? You wake up, first thing that you do is you open that Intercom app, you answer these messages, and then you're still, before you go to bed, you're still checking if you got in any support requests from customers in San Francisco, for example. Being
Right.
one of the founders, I don't think it doesn't matter doing so, right? Plus, a lot of these, especially in the early days, right? These customers, these questions that you get via customer support. For us, that was like a whole flywheel, because even when the questions weren't, if the questions are about the product, right? We always had the philosophy that if a customer asks a question about the product is not intuitive enough, right? So it's something that we have to improve in the product. The product should be self-explanatory. So we used all these questions to improve the product. And if the questions were more about OKRs or strategy execution, which is what most of the questions were, then we use these questions to create content. And that content we produced on our blog. And then these blog articles we turn into videos. And then these videos and blog articles, they generated more leads for us. That drove more traffic. We got more questions. We knew what other companies were struggling with. So it was a whole sort of flywheel effect to get better at what we do.
That is awesome. That's a great strategy. I've seen some of your videos. Some of your videos have 90,000 views, and they
I
sell
think
by
the biggest
themselves.
one is like 400,000 views on YouTube
Oh my
nowadays.
God. Okay, that's
Yeah,
really awesome. Yeah. And it totally makes sense for founders to get onto support at the starting phase of the startup, where you get to answer questions, what are the how the customers are feeling, what are their questions, and then you build the product roadmap
totally.
according to it. Yeah.
We even have a rotation scheme in our company, and we also ask our engineers every now and then to do support, because we think it's very good for them to directly interact with users, and see what they're struggling with, see what the questions are that people get in. Um, so yeah, I think as a founder you should. I mean, especially in the early days, but even at a later stage, I think can be valuable to do support from time to time. Right, I'm the CEO. I take care of the business side. My co-founder is taking care of product and tech, but also he is managing support every now and then, still today. And as I said, we also ask engineers to do that.
Totally makes sense. That's a great strategy. And how does Purdue integrate AI into your customer service operations, if at all? You all already said that you are using Intercom. Are you using any AI from Intercom that currently at?
We do, but we're quite disappointed about the quality of the AI that they have built in. It has improved, and they're actively working on it. But one of the major frustrations that I had with Intercom, is that they launched, like, ever since ChatGPT came out, right, and became extremely popular.
Fin AI agent is their product, what they were calling us.
Yeah, yeah. The question is like, what do you call AI? I find that a difficult question, right? I've been using Google Translate for a very long time. Is that now all of a sudden AI? I don't know. Um, But one thing that disappoints me very much with Intercom is that they always had these suggested articles, right? Like if someone sends in a support question, and I think that's important, because if you send in a support request, like as a user, you want to get an answer ASAP. But then we have a support article, for example, about something like extremely simple, how to delete a team, and then someone would send in a question like, "Hey, how do I remove a team?" And then it wouldn't pick up the article how to delete a team. Right? So then we had to like rewrite these articles, that we always make sure that we use delete, and then in the subtitle we use remove. But why not fix like these very simple things first, and then focus on AI having complete conversations,
Yeah,
right? And then
headset.
yeah, so we're a bit cautious. And then another thing that I don't get, why people would come up, why a company like Intercom would implement first, is that, right, a lot of companies nowadays, they are global, they have customers in all different countries. And in Intercom you can add translations for support articles, but it doesn't translate these support articles automatically, right? Like why can't we choose, like, okay, we have customers in Germany, in Spain, Spanish is important for us, Portuguese. Why can't I just turn that on and it would translate these support articles automatically for these users? Or if we get in a support question in Spanish, right, then what we do is, we run that through Google Translate, and then we write our answer and translate that back to Spanish, and it works, right? It's sufficient. Like, our customers
Uh-huh.
understand. We can actually resolve tickets that way. But why is that not built in? Right? Those are the things that would really help us if our customers can just write to us in their native language. and then it would automatically translate it for us, and whatever we write back, it would also translate. Kind of like how Microsoft has been doing that with Skype, right? With live subtitles. Like, those are things that would really help us, but I don't see these features available in Intercom, which kind of disappoints me.
Yeah, they're focusing more on like resolving queries with the AI, but like the basic things which should have been done by now, they have not picked it up. Maybe I this is a very good feedback. I hope someone from Intercom listen to this and take some action on it. Yeah, totally get your point and totally understand your frustration with that. The same is with us also. Is we also have our help center articles documentation. There, we also know that we have a lot of customers coming in from Brazil, Argentina, but the problem with us is our documentation is in English and all the code is also in English. So we are scared that if we change the language to Spanish automatically, the code should not also change because the code is written in English. So that's where we had to take a back step. So
Yeah.
that's one unique use case for us. Cool. Okay, moving ahead.
Yeah, but you can imagine these are big problems, right? Like writing support articles and keeping your support center up to date. That takes
Totally. Yeah.
a big amount of time, and then if you also have to create translations yourself, like why is that the case? I don't get it. I get that the translations will definitely not be perfect, but like
But
especially
it
for
can
simple
be it
product
can be
questions,
done. Yeah.
yeah, it can be
Especially
done.
with generative AI, with OpenAI's LLM, it can be easily done. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That should just be automated, and then like yeah,
Totally
I
get your
think
point.
these basic things would help us so much more than having an AI like Fin AI have complete conversations with customers and have and be able to resolve the ticket without us getting involved.
Yeah,
Anyway,
sometimes customers need just
those are
simple
just
basic features. Yeah, but they build like very high end feature with no one is looking for. Yeah, that sometimes happens. Yeah.
that's how it feels to me. Like yeah, that they're not getting in place the basic things first, and they immediately focus on like
Exactly.
extremely advanced and super cool things to show off on the screen. But for me, as like running a relatively simple software company, it's not helping me so much.
Yeah, yeah, totally makes sense. So, are there any specific AI tools or technologies that have significantly helped your customer support besides Intercom? Are you using any other AI tools?
Yeah, Google Translate. If we can call it AI nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Um,
Yeah, Google Translate is an AI. Yeah, even
so
yeah,
we have
even our inboxes, the way Google makes separation between the primary, promotional, and junk. Those are like artificial intelligence, machine learning working on the
yeah
back end. Yeah,
yeah. Um, and then we our app is we have customers in 75 different countries, right? So we have our app available in multiple languages, and we use PO editor for that to manage these translations, and they also have an AI built in nowadays that can automatically translate certain strings. Again, it's not perfect, and it's something that you have to manually check for yourself, but it does save you a lot of time creating these translations, so that's really helpful. And then as you've seen my videos, right? I create a lot of content myself. I do really like uh, the AIs that help you with content creation, right? So creating subtitles for videos that you created. I think soon we'll probably also be able to relaunch our videos in a different language
yeah,
where how I speak will automatically change. So there won't be any subtitles anymore, but it will just be in native Spanish, native Portuguese. That I think would be really cool for users. For product videos, there are like one tool that we recently started using that I really like is called. I have to look it up here on my computer. It's called Screen Studio. So you had lots of other tools like Camtasia, etc. But I always found it quite time consuming to create like product videos, and they automate a lot of steps. So they automate like what it looks like. It can cut out certain pauses. It automatically zooms in based on how your cursor moves, and it's very easy to remove a zoom if it becomes too much and too chaotic. So those kind of tools I find really helpful, right? To create product videos that you then put in support articles. Um, yeah, translations either of support content. We do that manually outside of Intercom, but that still works, right? Using Google Translate, in-app translations. Yeah,
Totally
creating new
makes sense.
videos. I think there's a lot of tools that will help you create high quality content at a much faster rate than you're used to. So then that we use a lot of AI for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like how you described about the product tools where you don't have to do recording previously. You have to record that thing and give it to a video editor, and the video editor will cut out parts and then they zoom in. Now those have been automated through AI. We ourselves use something called as Cluoso, and that has really made our life very easy. We use it same for documentation and creating product videos. So I
What is it
understand your
called?
point. Cluoso, it's spelled Cluuso. They are a Y Combinator backed company. They are very young guys, just passed out of their degrees, college degrees, but they got some good funding, and now they are picking up, and they are like a good name picking up in the Indian startup ecosystem.
Yeah, I'll take a look at them. Interesting. And
Yeah,
that's like working with a video editor. Like the annoyance there is always the back and forth, right? Like it's so much easier. Like if you're the support agent or the customer success manager, if you can just easily record these videos yourself, because then you don't have to work. Well, you can still work with a script, but like which, for example, which parts of the product video need to be highlighted and emphasized. And doing that with a video editor, like you either have to write everything out, specify everything, or you go back, you review the video. That back and forth is just so annoying, and
exactly.
AI just empowers the people that create these videos to finalize these videos themselves, and that I think is just so much more efficient.
You also talked about how you want to repurpose your older videos into different languages. So that's a very big use case, and that's a very big market. We have an Indian startup. They sell this technology to advertisement makers or to Bollywood movies, where your movies are now being translated, your dubbing gets better, your lip syncing is very much better with the voice, and they're solving that problem. And but they're not selling to startups, but just selling to advertisements, the same advertisement in different
Well,
languages.
let me know when they sell to startups. Like that's what
Yeah,
we would be interested
yeah,
in.
that's
Yeah.
something I came across, and I've thought, look, that's a really, really big market. Yeah, and
But
you
again,
really
like
got it
YouTube
at the
should
right
just
point.
offer that natively, right? So that if you watch any video, you say like, "Hey, I'm Spanish. I rather watch this movie in Spanish," and it automatically
Yeah,
does it for you.
yeah, and your lip syncing is so good that you don't even realize that that person did not speak in English. So that's a very good
Yeah, yeah,
thing.
that's
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, no, of course, yeah, 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 and it's way better than subtitles and yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay, cool. So, what are your thoughts on the growing role of AI in customer service? Are you optimistic about its future? Do you think will companies track OKRs when and if AI gets into the organization?
Yeah, I'm very optimistic. And uh, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm like apart from the criticism that I just expressed, I'm still very impressed. Engaging with the different AI tools. I use Perplexity a lot for content writing. Um, I use ChatGPT from OpenAI every now and then. I also try to see if Claude can come up with any better answers and the conversations that you're having. I really like also the voice conversations that you can have with ChatGPT.
Hmm.
It's very impressive and it's
It's
extremely
awesome.
good. So I think in terms of yeah. I think you should be cautious moving too fast with AI and because the business case is very tempting, right? Like if you can replace all your support agents with AI, that's going to save you a ton of money. But yeah, from all the services and products that I'm using, it's I find it extremely frustrating if the AI doesn't perform and I don't have the ability to talk to a real person,
Yeah,
right? So
most of the
yeah, go ahead.
startups what they're doing right now is they're building AI agents where they want to replace the live agent with the AI agent, so organizations can save money. But what companies should do instead is build for the support agents, build for support agents to be them,
Exactly.
make
Yeah,
them
totally
more
agree to that.
effective. Yeah.
Yeah, like someone should review the conversations that are taking place, like and are there any
Mhm.
signs that the user is happy with the result? And yeah, and I think you always want, well, for the time being, you always want to have this exit opportunity and be able to engage with a real person. Like you still
Right.
remember like these old telephone menus, right? That you had to click through, and then I need to talk to a person now. Like your menu is not working, and it's the same with support chats on websites. Like if there is no option, you get so angry as a user, and I don't think that's a level of support that you want to provide.
Yeah, especially once you have paid so much of good amount for your services and now you need support. I need to speak to someone, it's urgent. And then they just give you a chatbot and then you're stuck in the loop and the emails
Yeah,
get a lot
yeah.
of time to get answers from. When whenever somebody asks me how do you feel about the AI in the future, I just tell them back in the 1990s when computers were new, and at that point of time, if someone would tell you that you would carry those computers in your pockets, people would say, no, that's not possible. But same with the AI, it's just in its infant stage. It will go and become more human, more intelligent, and that's the answer I have with myself whenever someone asks me that shoots me that question.
For sure, yeah. No, absolutely, yeah.
Cool. So, do you think AI can ever fully replicate human empathy in customer service? That's a very big question I always ask everyone.
I think it can. Yeah, absolutely. I remember the last, or not sure if the last, but one of the recent demos from OpenAI, where they showed off that the AI was actually able to recognize in their voice whether there was any tension, or what the emotional state was. So I think at some point it will probably be. It could even be better at empathy than a real person. I mean, judging from support conversations, right, which either take place via phone. Well, if it can then recognize like emotions in your voice, it might be able to better do that than a human. And in written interactions, it should probably also be able to recognize whether a person is angry or not, or what the emotional state is. And it's an AI, right? Like it can consistently stay friendly. It will never get pissed off itself. So interactions may actually improve. In face-to-face interactions, I think humans will always remain better at that, of course. But I think for most companies nowadays, support is not face-to-face. It can be. I think it's rarely in video calls. It can be in writing via email or via in-app chats, or it is via phone, via voice. But even that becomes uh,
Yeah,
less frequent.
yeah. You totally made a very good point where the AI does not get tired. Human agents, after taking 15 calls a day, they will get exhausted. Even that they
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
give empathetic support, they won't be able to because they're just exhausted. But AI is not exhausted. It just keeps on going on loop.
And
Great point
your
there.
emotional state is not the same. Like I hope it's not, right? That
Yeah,
also
yeah, yeah.
wouldn't be good. Like you could have a bad night's sleep and you still need to get to work. And yeah, an AI doesn't have all these problems. So yeah, I think it can.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't be empathic because it wouldn't have empathy, but it can sound and come across as very empathic. That's definitely possible. That's already possible today.
Yeah. Coming back to that again, empathy again, how do you ensure a balance between AI powered automation and human empathy in your support strategy?
Um, Yeah, so what I said earlier, I think you always need to provide a shortcut or an exit opportunity to talk to a real person. I think that's critical because this is really speaking from my own experience, right? But you can get so pissed if it asks you to rephrase the question, or it provided an answer and then the only option is to start it from scratch, or it would end the call and like say, hey, my issue is not resolved right now. Like, yeah, so
Hmm.
I think that's something that's very important, that there's always an opportunity to talk to a real person. And I think when you provide that option, and people make use of that option, I think these are important triggers for you to evaluate what happened here. Why was the AI not able to resolve it? And that would help you improve the AI, right? So
Right.
I also
Makes
think
sense.
you shouldn't shy away from doing so. Um, yeah, I think it can play a very important role in written or in voice interactions, but I think in video I think you still want to talk to a real person. But how many video interactions will companies have when offering support,
Yeah.
right?
How at a same time, how many agents can you put in? That won't be possible. Yeah.
On the other hand, I also remember research now from quite a while back where they had an AI looking like a computer person, but looking like a person, that was acting as that was providing psychology,
Okay,
and
that's
it
interesting.
was that was kind of like acting like a shrink. Although I don't remember what exactly the problems were, but people were more open towards the computer version of the shrink, because it was a computer, right? So they shared a lot more than they would have done with a real
With
person.
a real
So
human. Yeah.
maybe maybe it will also work better if people know that they're engaging with an AI. Like I don't know, but
Yeah.
anyway, I'm very optimistic about what AI can do for customer service.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree with you with that also. And if there's an advice, what advice would you give to product managers and customer service leaders who are looking to integrate AI into their workflows?
Um, yeah, it comes back to what I said earlier. Like I would make sure that you get the basics resolved first. So if you offer an in-app chat, like make sure that there is really good suggestions for the articles, so that like anyone who has a simple question wants to have their ticket resolved ASAP, right? And you want to get an answer as fast as possible. Like if you're only providing support with real people, um, and your users therefore have to wait an hour or longer to get a response, like that's frustrating, right? Like so, if they have a question, and the AI can resolve that question very fast, then that would make people happy. But again, make sure that if the AI fails at doing so, that there quickly is an opportunity to talk to a real person. Um, but yeah, these sort of basics, I would focus on, and leave out the fancy stuff until you have got that sorted out. And the fancy things will get better over time anyway. So give it the time to further develop before you start using that.
Yeah, something like start with organizing your knowledge help center, your FAQs, fix out those so that customers can go and self serve themselves, and then take AI to solve more complex problems like returning an order, like by AI itself. Hey, I want to cancel my order, I want to change my address. So they are trying to solve those currently, or most of the AI companies, they are trying to solve actions where they want to say, hey, I want to cancel my change my address, delivery address, can you do it for me? And they want to replace the human agent. Instead, if they just do basic things like updating the FAQs and fetching answers from them, and then slowly go ahead from there. That's where companies are taking a bigger jump, because or else they will lose the market.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to capture the new thing. That's where it's happening, I guess, the fast rapid involvement.
yeah.
uh, Cool. So, how do you see the role of AI in customer service evolving over the next 5 to 10 years? I think the same question is coming again and again, but I want to hear your thoughts. How do you think it will evolve in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, we have a shrinking labor force, especially in Europe, where I am based. So I'm not sure how it is in other parts of the world. I think in Africa the labor force is still growing, but not so much in the US. Although in the US they have immigration that may keep the labor
Yeah,
force
yeah.
growing. But I yeah, with a shrinking labor force, like you need to automate certain things, right? And you need to rely more on robots, be it like physical robots or digital robots. Um, and yeah, as we spoke about today, right? I'm very optimistic about AI in customer service. So I think customer service is one of the few spots where AI and digital robots can actually replace humans. And I totally agree with your philosophy that you shouldn't aim to fully replace all your support agents with AI, but you should focus on AI that will make individual support agents like
More
10x or
productive.
maybe
Yeah.
even 100x more effective. So you need less support agents. So don't try to get rid of all your support agents. Just make sure that they become way more effective, and then you can shrink a support team from 100 people to maybe 10 or even fewer people. Um, and it's necessary. It's like with
Yeah.
these support
So when
agents should focus on different industries and try to do other things.
Yeah, actually, support agents can slowly give very good feedback to product teams because they know they are in the trenches and they understand what customers really want, which sometimes the product managers don't understand. They just think, okay, they're just saying that, they don't really mean it. But support agents really understand, and they can more work with the product team, making here be more effective with the support chats and everything, and then work more closely with the product team and make the product better more.
Yeah, yeah, and there might be support agents that just enjoy like working their way through support tickets.
Hmm.
But that's it's not for them, right? Like the AI will work through most of the tickets, and they will start focusing on more complex work, like focus
Complex
on the
issues.
queries that the AI wasn't able to resolve, and I don't know,
Yeah,
working through summaries and providing feedback to the product team, as you say, to say like, okay, what are the big problem areas, like those kind of things. Like from my
exactly.
perspective, I would think it would make a support agent's work a lot more interesting. But I also realize it's probably not for everyone, and there might be a lot of people right now that enjoy their work the way it is today. But yeah,
Hmm.
as I said, we have to adjust because we do face a shrinking labor force, and that's going to be a very big problem for companies going forward.
Yeah. So when you speak about shrinking labor force, do you mean there are less people to work, or do you mean people are being replaced by automations or AIs or something
No,
like
I
that?
mean there are less people available to work. Like in
Okay, that's
Europe, you
just
have the
because of the
boomers, right? That's a
population.
yeah, it's a shrinking labor force population. Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay. So that's something where AI can come in and help you guys out to make uh, more productive. Like people can get more productive with AI tools and everything. So it's a plus thing
totally.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and. And, but also all these physical robots, right? That can help and assist in factories. I think that's one of the reasons why Elon Musk is focusing on Optimus so much, right? If
Hmm.
he can really build a good robot, then that can probably replace a lot of factory workers, and then he has everything under one umbrella, and that would help him build cheaper cars, probably also faster because they can work round the clock, and that gives him a major competitive advantage again. I'm not sure if that's the thought behind Optimus, but I can totally imagine that's the case.
I,
So we,
I
we
I think
definitely
that's
need
the
we
ultimate
definitely
case.
need
Yeah.
all these developments to
Oh,
still have growing economies and be able to make sure that all the things that need to get done get done. Like
uh-huh.
there's no other way.
Also, I think with time, Optimus will get more smarter, more intelligent, and I think Elon Musk is going to put them on the Starship and send them to Mars, and then do feel like they would also need laborers out there to build out things
Could
for
be,
him.
could very well be, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's a whole big plan of his. Yeah, that's working. I think he's halfway there with the election being on Donald Trump's side yesterday.
No,
Yeah,
totally, yeah. But you can draw a lot of interesting synergies and between these different companies and products that he's building. Absolutely.
yeah, the boring company which nobody thought about. So that's making tunnels and then hyperloops, and people are saying, why is he making that? But he's thinking like way ahead of the future. Maybe he would use those things at Mars, where he would make tunnels and all those things. Yeah, interesting. um, Cool. I think, Henrik, I have asked all my questions that I had for the session today, and I really enjoyed this
Yeah, good.
conversation. It was really, really good. It went abruptly from somewhere to somewhere, but I really enjoyed it. Henrik, thank you so much for taking the time out and for sharing your valuable insights. I know as a CEO, as a co-founder, it's very difficult to take time out and do podcasts and everything, but I really appreciate that you taking the time out and share your valuable insights with us today.
More than happy to. It was great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Take care, Henrik.